looks that you're gonna plan to bring in the coming episodes, maybe the season 2 or anything that you plan
They're already in there. You just don't know it.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, they're already in there. You'll see them. Yeah.
When coming up with Tobias, because I asked one of the other writers, they said they were just following your lead when it came to Tobias. What led you to kind of imagine him as this he doesn't like black people.
He doesn't.
And where does that come from?
Sometimes I don't like black people, but I love them, and so if you're not, as an artist, if you're not afraid to sort of examine all aspects of who you are, I think every black person has had that experience where a crime has been committed and you're looking at the TV, you're like, oh God, please don't let him be black, and plus Tobias, and you may have seen, I think it was episode 5, where his father would tell him, you're not black, you're not white, you're not nothing. And so his hatred or his dislike for black folk actually comes from his father and the way that he was treated by black folk. And we'll see more of that as the series goes on. But I think it's less of, to your point, not hatred, it's I don't like, because he also said, I love black people. I just don't like thick lip, blah, 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 blah.
Speaking of that episode in particular, it had T.C. Carson, and we've seen some other Living Single alumni. Are we gonna I want the girlfriends, I want the Living Single. Are we gonna get all of them?
You may get them all, sis.
Okay.
You may see the game creep up in there. You may see, just keep watching. Just keep watching. Now that we are a hit, now people are calling me. I had to call in at the beginning.
It's building on the point from Tobias. We were just talking about Lady Eve and crafting her voice, that it's a very unique and more, insidiously villainous way that for a black woman to be seen on TV. Kind of like, what was the evolution of that character, and how did I get Jill Scott to do it? And thank you for getting Jill Scott to do it.
Well, first of all, Jill is just beautiful, and so when I thought about Lady Eve, I was like, okay, it's got to be Jill. So I called her. I just called her because she had worked with us before, being Mary Jane. And I said, Jill, I got this part. And Mara called her. And so, Jill's like, okay. And so I always said Jill always brings a special voice to anything that she does. And to be honest, I gave her the script and she created this persona, the way that she talks and the way that she, sort of moves, and she helped pick out her wardrobe. And so most of that was Jill. Yeah.
Tell her we said thank you.
Yes, I will.
Because she's one of the most unique portrayals of a black woman on TV, fully three-dimensional, and then to just be that badass.
Yes.
And villainous.
Yes, she was good. The episode was good. I hated that episode, but I had to do it. It was so poetic.
Why did you not like it?
Because I wanted her to stay around.
When you were pulling from the comic book and trying to decide which elements you were going to bring in to integrate this world, it kind of seems like you went beyond just like the nuclear family to build out a whole city. Can you tell us a little bit about the process? Because they were talking about, you taught about the Tuskegee element, and I keep getting Henrietta Lack. But, when you're building the actual physical world, it's bigger than a lot of the other towns. Like, I'm from the country in North Carolina, and I still see my neighborhood when you have people walking around here. So when you were coming up with that, what kind of infected the aesthetic?
The Bay Area.
Okay.
Because I lived in Richmond, California, and I knew people who had never been to the beach. And we have a beach in Richmond. So in the minds of a lot of folk in those sort of cities, that's it. And it's hard to say or do anything to get them out of that mentality, because then it becomes a fear. Let's go to San Francisco, man. It becomes a fear to sort of move out your comfort zone. But what we don't realize sometimes is in those neighborhoods, the comfort zone is a danger zone. You know what I mean? But we're so used to it that we're comfortable with the violence. We're comfortable with the drugs around us. We're comfortable with all of it. And what I'm trying to show is that we shouldn't be. I'm sort of intensifying things into reality, right? Because in some of these towns are more intense than Freeland, and they don't have Black Lightning. They got the gangs, they got the police, they got the drugs, but they don't have a Black Lightning. So what I wanted to do was make sure that it felt real the way that it felt in my mind at times. You know what I mean? Like, how do you get out of here? You know what I mean?
You talked during the panel a little bit about how the show deals with real life societal issues, and that's such a tradition with like superheroes in general. You know, what do you think it is about these characters that are obviously larger than life, but like are so well suited to comment on things that are happening outside our windows?
Because everybody wants a hero, right? Isn't that what Jesus is all about? You want somebody to come save you from yourself, from others. Jesus was a superhero. He had powers, right? And so that's what people are sort of identifying with. That's why you see some of the episodes, people call him Black Jesus. You know what I mean? Because they want to save you. That's why a lot of the titles of the shows say the Book of Lawanda, or the Book of this, is because I've read the Bible. I've read the Quran. I've read the Torah. I've read the Book of the Dead. I've read enough to have figured out some things about life, and I'm trying to impart them in a way that doesn't scare people. But I wanted to lay the groundwork before I start talking about the other stuff.
Thank you guys so much.